One of my favorite sweet treats is cinnamon rolls, and a while back I did a video making cinnamon rolls using egg life wraps, or my 2-ingredient noodle recipe as the cinnamon roll wrap. And when I came up with this Fathead Dough version 2.0, I knew this was what I wanted to do to make some new cinnamon rolls. So not only are they sweet, soft, and delicious, they're also packed with protein, so it doesn't just have to be for breakfast anymore. So today on Southern Keto, let's take my Fathead Dough, which should be called Skinny Head Dough, and make some high protein cinnamon rolls that you'll absolutely love. Stick around. The first thing you're going to need for this recipe is a ball of my Fathead Dough. But to that, you're going to want to add in anywhere from a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of powdered sweetener, just depending on how sweet you want yours to be. Just don't let it roll out of there. I've had this at room temperature out of the refrigerator for about 45 minutes or so, just so it comes to room temperature. I made this ahead of time. It keeps really well in the fridge. Now, if it's too hard in there, you may need to microwave it for 5 to 10 seconds until it feels like dough again. But I'm just going to take this and unwrap it. Now I've just got a small cutting board here. I'm going to put a sheet of parchment paper down. I'm going to put that down. And because I always forget, I'm going to take a wet kitchen towel and put right up under this board so it doesn't slide around while I'm rolling this out. Now what I'm going to do is try to shape this into a little bit of a rectangle instead of a circle. And if it's a little bit sticky right out of the fridge, you can always put down a little bit of protein powder here. And you'll know if it's a little too sticky, if it's leaving a good bit of that on there when you're rolling it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put down a little bit of protein powder on there just to make sure it doesn't stick. And I'm using this ISO Pure, same thing I used in that 2.0 Fathead Dough recipe. And I'll leave a link to that recipe up there too so you can make it if you haven't already. And I'm just gonna take a little bit here. You can spread that out. Put a little bit on the top of your Fathead Dough like that. And just get a nice little bit of dough like that. Spread it out. That's just going to keep it from sticking. And don't worry, this little bit of powder that's still there, we're going to use that. We'll throw that right on the top. But I'm going to take another sheet of parchment on top. So just roll this out, try to get it in as much of a rectangular shape as you can, and keep rolling it till it's about 1/4 inch thick. And if it comes out looking crazy like this after you rolled it out, don't worry about it. Just form it a little bit like that with your hands. If you need to cut a little bit, put it on the other side, you can certainly do that. Let's make this real nice. And you don't have to, you can make some ugly cinnamon rolls, it doesn't really matter. Hey, I'm gonna piece this thing together, don't worry. And that's the nice thing about it, this stuff is flexible, so you can just work it until you get as pretty as you want. I mean, don't overwork it, but you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna throw that on there, and I'll make this side all come together nice. I'm just rolling that all together. And you got the prettiest ugly cinnamon rolls you've ever seen. So I'm gonna cheat here just a little bit. I've got this cream cheese that's been sitting out for about 45 minutes at room temperature. It's 4 ounces. And I'm gonna throw it right in here because it's not quite as soft as what I'd like. And right here, I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna go ahead and microwave this and melt it completely down. And then I'm gonna throw this in the microwave just to soften it up a little bit so it'll combine. So I put this in the microwave for about 30 seconds, which was about 10 seconds too long, as you can see. So just put it in until it starts to splatter everywhere like that. And then dump that melted butter right into it. And I'm just gonna start mixing these together. Just cut this up, stir it up a little bit. This is gonna be able to spread on these cinnamon rolls in just a minute. So just get it pretty well combined there. I'm gonna add in 1/4 cup of my keto sweetener, my brown sweetener, and I'll put a link to that somewhere over there, or just use your favorite keto brown sweetener. And I'm going in with a tablespoon of cinnamon, because I like it cinnamony. I don't know about you. You can use as much or as little as you want, but for me, that's just right. Now I'm just gonna stir this up till it all comes together and gets spreadable, and we will spread this right on our Fathead dough. And now, just pour this right over the top of your Fathead dough. Just get all up in there now. Get all this good stuff out. Minus a little bit you want to eat, of course, because you got to taste it. You don't want to give anybody any bad tasting cinnamon rolls, so make sure you give this little bit of goodness a nice taste. And then just spread it out all over the whole thing. I mean, I could just take a fork and eat this right now, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna show you what they're supposed to look like at the end, so I'll restrain myself. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my ingredients together for the icing. Now, you didn't think I could do a dessert video without Old Yeller, I hope. Old Yeller's been waiting for his dessert debut in this video. Now, the recipe is down in the description if you don't wing it like I do, but I've got about 3 tablespoons of cream cheese and 1 and a little bit tablespoons of butter that I gotta melt. And once that butter is melted, I'm just gonna pour that right in the mix, and don't go telling everybody I melt butter to make a buttercream frosting, because you know, it's not the proper technique. They'll all be wanting to try it because it works. Then I'm gonna take a tablespoon of my powdered sweetener. And again, I'll put the recipe up top on how to make this, or just use your favorite keto powdered sweetener. And just a little splash of vanilla, beaver-free of course. That might be a 1/4 teaspoon. Then I'll bring in the old hand mixer. See how soft that is already? I like to stir this up a little because I don't want my powdered sweetener flying everywhere. But I'm just gonna start to combine this together. And now you got like a sweet butter. So what do? I'm just gonna go in with a tiny bit of heavy cream, mix it up a little more until I get the consistency that I want. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good right there. You just wanna make sure this is nice and spreadable. Look at that. That's what you want right there. You want it to be nice and thick. You go over the top of those cinnamon rolls, it's gonna melt down just a little. So make sure you got this proper before your cinnamon rolls come out of the oven. So I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees already. And so now, I'll just take my cinnamon roll, and you can do it like this if you want to. Just make sure this dough releases and you just wanna roll this up. Oh yeah, that's what we want right there. I'm just gonna take a pie plate and spray it so nothing sticks. Then I'm just gonna cut this in half, and it works best to use a serrated knife. And I'm gonna cut each one of these into thirds. So we're gonna have 6 of these cinnamon rolls in all. Hey, and that little weird end right there, we pieced it all together. You can give that to your least favorite person. Just put this part down inside that pie plate, nobody will be the wiser. I'll slide that out of the way and we will load these up. See, look there. They're never gonna know. Just spread these out evenly on here like that. And if you've got a little bit like that, you know, just give them a little decoration. And the rest, well, that's mine. So I'm gonna put these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. So after 15 minutes, I'm gonna take them out of the oven and I'm gonna let them sit here and rest for about 5 minutes before we ice them, just to make sure they're proper. They should be nice and golden around the edges like that. That is exactly what you want. So after these have sat and cooled for a few minutes, I'm gonna take them off and put them on a plate so we can ice them. If they get stuck together, just go in like that, give them a little separation, they'll be just fine. Make sure you season these well with salt and pepper. And I'm just kidding, just wanna make sure you were paying attention. And now I'll just take my icing, put a little bit right on top here. And listen, if you like your icing a little bit sweeter, I made mine a little less sweet just for this video because of the way I'm gonna finish them here. But you may wanna double the amount of sweetener in there. Just taste it before you put it on here, just so you'll know. And these are still warm, so this is gonna melt down just a little bit. And I'll spread it out on here and show you how I like to finish these in just a minute. And don't worry, I washed my hands. Hand washing police. And let's put these bad boys up here for a proper photo. I mean, come on now, tell me that ain't gonna be great. Now let me find the ugliest one so I can see how these things taste. I mean, tell me these things don't look absolutely delicious. You can make your frosting a little prettier than how I do mine, but I mean, to me, there ain't nothing like a big old glob of cream cheese frosting right on top of these things. You know it's good when pieces jump off trying to preserve themselves. This stuff right here is absolutely delicious. Now, if you want to see how I made the other cinnamon rolls, make sure you watch this video right here. If you want some other great dessert ideas, click this right now.